morning, everybody. We're going to lighten it up a little bit after last week. It was a hard week in El Paso, but we're going to kind of move on to regular pediatrics this week. So I saw a message on a Facebook group that I'm part of, and it made me think, maybe we ought to talk about what do you do when your kid bites? I'm the proud mother of 2 biters, now reformed biters, I must say, but I have some thoughts on what you can do to make your kids stop biting other people. First question is, do I bite my child back? No. And I know somebody's grandma's going to be like, well, I bit my kids back and they stopped. Okay, here's how this works. Most children only bite once or twice in their whole life. So for most children, regardless of what you do after the first or second time they bite, they're never going to do it again. You could bite them back. You could hit them. You could sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It wouldn't change what's about to happen, which is that your child won't bite again, because they generally don't do it that many times. Okay? Correlation, not causation. Just because he bit and you bit him back doesn't mean you biting him back fixed the problem. The idea behind biting back is that, like, the kid's gonna feel you bite them and say, gosh, it must have really hurt mommy when I bit her, and so I won't do that again. The problem is the age group that usually bites is our toddlers, and they have zero empathy, none. Tiny sociopaths. That's not a commentary on your child's moral character. It's just a fact that that part of their brain hasn't developed yet. The world revolves around them. They have no idea that you have feelings like they have feelings. They can't even name their own feelings. How are they going to generalize their feeling of being bitten to you? And certainly not only when you do it once, right? Because this is the kid who had to drop his spoon off of his high chair 347 times before he figured out that you were going to pick it up again. They need repetition to understand cause and effect. You biting them once isn't going to do anything. That's not how baby brains work. It was a coincidence. I'm sorry to tell you. I know that parents feel like they solved it when they bit their kid back, but that wasn't you. That was just how the kid works. Stop biting your children. Okay, so what do you do? Because you can't let your kid go around biting people. This is not helpful. So, number one, figure out what kind of biter you got. There's really 2 kinds. There's excited biters and there's frustrated biters. Which one is your child? So I have one excited biter in my house. He's kind of a sensory kid, and that's who I usually see this out of. They're my sensory kids. They're the kids who get wound up and carried away really easy when you tickle them. They get so frantic and excited and silly, and then something comes into contact with their face and they bite. That's actually a little bit easier to deal with because you can clearly see it coming. Your kid's getting sillier and sillier and sillier, and you know you're heading into bite territory. You have 2 choices. Number one is give them something they can bite. Okay? I don't care if you bite your teddy bear. Don't care. Teddy bear doesn't have feelings. So bite this instead. Perfectly acceptable. Or verbally cue them when you see it's coming. We're having so much fun. You're so silly. Remember that we don't bite when we're silly. Remember that biting hurts other people. Give them the verbal cue before they bite so that they kind of think about it a little bit before they bite. And usually you can stop them. When you see them moving their face closer to you, putting their mouth near you, please don't bite me, and just cut it off. And usually that works. Now, that prevents it temporarily. Truthfully, excited biters are very hard to stop from biting. Like long term, they have to learn to control their excitement, and that doesn't happen until they're a little older. So you're going to be doing this a lot until you come up with another way, either by distracting them or by finding some other way they can let that energy out without, sinking their teeth into you. The harder group are my frustrated biters, because you got to figure out what the problem is that's triggering the frustration, that's triggering the biting. And it's not just biting, it's hitting, it's kicking, it's anything violent acting out. Kids when they get upset will express it, but when you don't have words because you're like 2 or 3, you you do what you know how to do, and that's to kick or hit or bite. But what's the problem? What's the trigger? Usually it's that your kid can't communicate what they're thinking. Okay, little sister snatches his toy and he's mad and he's thinking, I really want my toy back, but he doesn't have the ability to get those words out, and so he bites his sister, which from a really functional perspective actually works because she probably gives him back his toy. So it is an effective strategy from the kid's perspective, from a toddler perspective, because remember, they're all tiny sociopaths. They have no empathy. What you get to do as a parent is figure out what the problem is. First, medical. Are they sleeping? Are they snoring? Do they have sleep apnea? I am a pain in the butt when I don't sleep. I am not a nice person. My son will tell me, Mom, you need a nap. Okay? Nobody's rational when they're chronically sleep deprived. If your child's chronically sleep deprived, let's fix the sleep, and we'll probably fix the biting. Are they sick? Do they have things like chronic sinusitis? So you have a headache all the time, and that makes kids a little bit ornery, and it makes it hard to think. Do they not feel good? Because again, I'm not a happy sick person. My mother will happily share with you the fact that I'm not a nice sick person. And I don't bite because, you know, I'm over 40 and I have some self-control, but I can understand how kids who have medical stuff going on might just not have the wherewithal to get the words out, and the biting is easier. Can your child hear, and can your child speak? Speech delayed kids are notorious biters because they can't get the words out. And so we got to go looking and figure out why the words won't come out. Why give me back my toy can't get expressed. And when you're 2, I understand you don't say that. You say mine. But why can your 2-year-old not just say mine and yank the stuffed animal back? Why do they have to bite? I'm going to guess it's either that they don't have the impulse control to think about it because they're sick, sleep deprived, their energy goes somewhere else besides their brain, or because they don't have the words. So these are kids who get really frustrated. And when you're really frustrated and you don't have a lot of power, you use the power you have. And when you're 2 or 3, that might be your teeth. Fix the problem, fix the biting. In the meantime, because sometimes this takes time, it's going to take speech therapy, it's going to take a bunch of stuff. What do? You got to monitor them. Be with them when they play. Be with them when they play with their siblings. Because nobody bites out of the blue. Everybody has a tell or a warning. When you see sister snatch that toy, you know your kid is going to bite, or might bite, or is likely to bite, or however you want to put that. That's the time to intercept them, put your hand on their shoulder, and say, I know you're frustrated. How can we fix this? Or a very simple, don't bite, to kind of break that interaction up and get them to think. Remember, that filter doesn't kick in, that like restrictor plate between thought and action that slows you down. Now have that. In addition to being sociopaths, they also are really impulsive. If you can get their attention in the moment, you may be able to break it and they won't act out. We can come up with a better solution. If they've already bitten somebody, you yelling and screaming at them is probably not going to help. My daughter always says that toddlers and dogs have 2 senses of time. It's either now or it's forever. That's it. If it's not now, it's forever. They may not be able to go back and analyze the situation about why they bit somebody and then think about how I would do this better. So, and even if you can debrief them kind of that way, they're not necessarily going to know how to generalize that to future interactions. Again, dropping the spoon off the high chair 347 times before they figured out you were going to pick it up again. This is who we're dealing with, and so this is the way to kind of think about this behavior and these acts of aggression from little kids. They're not trying to be aggressive. It's all they have because they don't have the words. And so we got to work on our feeling words. We got to think about why kids are frustrated and try to fix the problem that's causing the issue. And then distract them. I don't care if you bite your teddy bear. Really don't care. Because Teddy doesn't have nerve endings and he doesn't really care. If you have specific questions about, how your kid is doing with this whole biting thing, or how you can track down the cause that's kind of precipitating all this stuff, let me know. I hope everybody has a good weekend. I'm glad to see that things are kind of getting back to normal around here. It's El Paso. We're a good city. These are good people. Nobody here deserved what happened last week. And I think the rest of the country is going to come to understand exactly who we are, which is a pretty great group of people. Hang in there. Let me know if you need help or if you need anything. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.